Hey everyone, good evening. Hey! Yay, we've managed it. This is the last session, the last talk. So, lightning talks. We got this many volunteers here. I'm very glad to report. So more or less all slots are filled. We're probably not going to run this until the very last second, otherwise we will get kicked out violently. So I thought everybody got 8 minutes, and then we will 30 seconds before I will stand up, and then at 8 minutes we will friendly cut the people off with a round of applause. And we start with Olivier.
Thank you, Thorsten. Good night, everybody. I'm going to present the current status of the help editor. Yes. Okay, so basically what we have is this editor is made for editing the XML, and I need my computer. Well, okay, let's go. What we have is essentially this editor. We can open and choose a file of help to open. I don't have any file in this local computer, so I can't pick one. You can also save it, okay? But you also can start a document from scratch, and we have set all these menus to make some XML blocks so that it makes it easier for us to edit the contents of a file or to create a new file. This case here, I will start a new HXP document. It asks me just because I'm going to clean the editor, and then I will add some new things. So I say OK, and it starts giving me this XML, which is exactly the initial content of a help file. You have the meta, we have the help document, we have all the tags. This editor here is Code Mirror, okay? And with this Code Mirror, we have implemented not only the edition, but also several add-ons. So I can use, for example, the full screen editing. We have a search and replace feature. We have auto-complete tags. Everything is available for making easy to edit. For example, here, I start my editing here in the body. If I want to add something, I just click here, for example, and I want to make a title. So I'm going to type whatever thing here, and then, just a moment. Then I select it here, and I format it as a paragraph, or for example, a heading, such as H1. It immediately surrounds my text by the proper tag, and it adds a specific identification which is unique inside the file. So something that is very cumbersome for whoever edits the help files in LibreOffice is to find a new string for the unique identification. And when I'm done, I can come here with the tools and ask to render the page. And okay, so we have resolution issues here. Well, it should have rendered the page on the left. Yeah, we have a resolution issue here. The result of this page is displayed here, and you can see exactly what you are typing. Unfortunately, it's not working here. I don't. Okay. Okay, so here, well, yes. So here is the render page. Sorry, it should have been on the right. But then you have your title here, and I have also implemented the possibility to make a choice. Those who edits help files knows that there is difference between the systems and also difference between the modules. It's surrounded by this switching line or switch tag that we use. And here is here in the results, we have also other debug info, okay? And also we have implemented some checkings. For example, I want to check if the file is correct, and it makes the validation. So first of all, checks if the XML is correct. So you have opened a tag and you have also closed the tag. Check with the XML document type definition to see if the DTD is correct, and also check if there is a duplicate ID in the file. Okay, so before you submit your file, you can run these checks, and it will guarantee that your file will be correct for the help. Okay, we have implemented other niceties, such as in the doc heading, for example. Just to come back here. If I want to introduce a heading, sorry, where I am here, where is my mouse? Well, I lost the mouse. Not sure where I am. Yes, it's on the other screen. No. Yes, it's closed. It's bounded here. I can't use it. So. Okay. So here we are. So we can, for example, introduce this chunk of XML, which is the doc heading, and it will introduce here lots of. Oh, sorry. Lots of a section, ID, the bookmarks, the heading, the paragraph with the a help, everything is already there, and with some placeholders so that you can easily fill with the content. Okay. Also, so what we have is the bookmarks, several bookmarks. You can fill the sections, generic sections, the section that is the related topics, the how to get, divisions that are for basic code and Python codes. We have some templates for tables. If I click and add a table here, for example, it will generate all the table for me, okay, with all the structure, and then I fill the content of the table. And we plan to, 1 minute, 30 seconds. And we plan to implement not only to generate a patch to be submitted to Gerrit, and also eventually to load the files directly from the master branch, and some help pages, the HTTP reference that explain the okay. Yes. So it should have.
Hello, my name is Gülşah. I'm LibreOffice developer and I'm working in Collabora. I will talk about the improving LibreOffice, interoperability in LibreOffice. when we want to open OOXML based document in LibreOffice, sometimes we can have some problems. To solve them, first, if we have a bug report, first we need to reproduce the bug. And second, we simplify the bug document because we need to focus on the problematic part. We should do it step by step and check it after every step the bug still there. If it's possible, we should create the bug from scratch. After, we should try the bug in older LibreOffice versions. If there is no bug, in older versions, it's a regression. And we can use Git bisect tool to find the guilty commits. The documents ODT, docx, pptx, these all documents, it's zip compressed files. When we open it, unzip, we can use read the XML files, and we can pick some clues from that XML files. The files are unreadable, but XML lint tool is corrects the indentations. If it's possible to create a correct document, we can compare problematic and non-problematic files to solve the bug. The MELD is a great tool for this compression. It has a nice visualization and it allows us to compare the directories. After that, when we pick up all the clues, we should grab on the source code and debug and try to fix it. I want to give an example that I solved before. In this bug report, we have a document. When we save in LibreOffice and open again, we missed 3 digits after the comma in the chart label. While I solving, first I reproduced the bug. I saw the bug. I saw the bug is there. The document was enough simple. I tried it with older LibreOffice, but bug was there. It was not a regression. I examine the chart label properties in Microsoft Office, and I saw the percentage checkbox is checked. I looked for the corresponding feature in LibreOffice, and I found it. I debugged it to learn how it works. After, I unzipped the file, and I found a suspected tag here, the num format code. When I compare them before and after the file, saving the file, I saw the format code missing in buggy file. I read the related OOXML specs and learn what that tags does. I grabbed and debug where the XLS export code, and I found it. And I have added the format code attributes in the num format tag, and I solved this. All about is picking some true keywords to grab in LibreOffice. The other part is your code reading skills and debug skills. That's the patch that I sent. And that's all. Thank you.
Do we need to sit? Hello, test, test. Okay, I'm Svante Schubert. Pleased to meet you. While he's looking up, I'm going to give you a disruption warning now, a 10-minute disruption warning. I wasn't sure if it's 3 minutes or 4 or 5 minutes, so I only got 10 slides. I would have taken more. So while he's trying to find... Yeah, just full screen mode. It should be possible. Windows, I believe. Oh no, View, sorry. Great. Hello. So this could be LibreOffice, and I hope it won't become LibreOffice. So I give now, fair enough, a very short disruption warning. Disruptive in the sense of, just a second, do I use this one? Yeah. In the sense of disruptive feature. I have in mind like a Nokia, one of the leaders. I loved my Nokia phones. I was very proud of my Nokia phones. But then the smartphone came and they were gone, right? So I'm proud to be here with LibreOffice, and I don't want that it happens again. So what kind of disruption might happen there? So we have in the TDF a new toolkit, more or less new. It started with Sun at the beginning of 2000s, and we put all the Java source code we have to manipulate ODF documents. And it went from Apache now to DDF and was forked by the Open Exchange for their backend. And I merged it back. And soon, you see, there's a snapshot 100. This feature will be integrated. And this is all. Wait a minute, how can I do this? Okay, just a second. Try to. Oh, yeah, it is wonderful. All right, so that's very simple. So all we're doing now, it's just a green box here, not a black box, because it's open source. So we drop in the text document, and it becomes totally equivalent sequence of user changes. So we're entering now the realm of changes here, and you can merge new changes back. Why we're doing this? Because we don't want to, as a software developer, zip our source code repositories and then send them to other developers if we share our work. All we want to do, we want to dispatch commits, diffs, changes, so we are able to merge them back. But it's impossible. We have zipped XML, and these are like repositories, and we need to come down to changes to really do collaboration, like an asynchronous offline collaboration where we can work together in a more comfortable way. This is becoming soon a TDF feature, and I'm going to document now. I'm just documenting, that's all the way we're doing now. So in the end, I would love to standardize even the changes. So not only the full zip repository is being changed, but there's some ODF change. And you see, it doesn't matter how we serialize it. It's the user knowledge of these things, the entities. When I phone you about my change, I'm going to call you, hey, by the way, in the third paragraph, the second letter, please delete it, okay? If you phone my mom, she doesn't know anything about ODF or so what, but she's sitting in a from LibreOffice, and you tell her there's the table, there's the image, then there's a paragraph, and this paragraph go to number, now make the third character to the fifth, please bold. And that's the way we go to the semantic level with stable. And we are going to standardize these semantic entities and send them around. So in the end, we do a fine collaboration here. So why is it so cool? What can we do now? So we are, first, we're no longer sending repositories. We're going to send changes, right? So we might be as GitHub. We can say there's some famous author now having his book outside, and he doesn't want to get copies because it's a very huge book. But you can send a GitHub pull request saying, oh, by the way, this 1,000 countable thing that's being a paragraph, there's a typo, please delete it. And he can just take a look at this tiny thing, a change, and he can say, oh, cool, I merge it. There's no bad jokes in this copy he might receive. So it's very easy and very comfortable. And of course, version systems like Git, currently they are only line-based and there's only binary file. But if we go to an abstract semantic level, then we can say, what are the difference between two versions of this contract, for instance? And somebody say, okay, we just return these changes we just defined, and you say, oh, and there's a new third paragraph, and the fifth one we've deleted, okay? So we can come to a new level of collaboration and handling with documents, right? And I think one of the most powerful things is that these changes already exist among multiple, not only ODF applications, but in HTML there are paragraphs as well, and there's bold, italic, and tables, and they do the same operations like insert a row, insert a column, and you can even load an ODF document, a full-featured document, in a VI, in text document, Emacs, by simply saying every line is a paragraph and there's text. And we just receive from all these changes that are about paragraphs and tables, and reorder the positions, do addition in the editor, doing additions, and then we merge these changes back and filling all these features that were unknown earlier back in. So we are merging changes back and not like we always do with a floppy disk, load everything, save everything. So when you ever edit it with LibreOffice Word, a very huge document, and you make a small change and said, oh, I better save, I don't want to lose it, and waiting and everything is being saved. It doesn't matter, it doesn't have to do, because all you have to do now is to save only the change, or just to merge it back. So it's becoming much, much more faster. And if we all got copies of documents, and you give me back your changes, or a single change, I don't have to look at all the documents and parse them. I just take the changes, each one, and put them together. Yes, compare these changes. So the merge is no longer dependent on the size of the document, but the amount of changes. All right? So we have a different level of interoperability, and we'll see how it's going to. And why we are in danger? Because it's very hard to implement it in LibreOffice. People are not, customers are not demanding it because they don't know aware that it's possible, and it's very hard. I heard from developers to implement it in a way that's being. That you see something. Like I asked Michael Stahl what he needs, and he said, I need a time machine. Because the design, what was chosen in the 80s, was totally different from floppy disk, no internet, to the current days where we always internet and we're collaborating with ourselves all the time. And so if there's no danger yet, right? There's only this tiny backend tool, not front end, and nobody is aware of this feature, maybe you are, but no user knows it. But if others taking this up and building, let's say, like CAK 8.5, which have changes in their model by design, using this to load and edit Office documents with ODF and embracing Git, then it's becoming very, very powerful, and then we are in a danger. So what I'm suggesting here is that we are, no, sorry, that was an old slide. We are really implementing it, right? And if we are not doing it, then I think the Document Foundation should take care of. And it's not for me because I'm not actually coding in LibreOffice, but I think it's important that we have this in our view. Okay? Thank you for listening.
Yeah, give me the. Don't even know what HDMI is on.
Okay, you're on.
Wow, it's nothing. Yep. Now, my talk is about bin bags. Not really, but the FOSDEM organisers came in before, so sorry for a bit of disturbance during your talk, but they said if we have any rubbish left, we need to collect it together. So if you've got anything you don't want to take with you tonight, we'll just put it all in the bin bag here, yeah? Close the windows, and because, you know, I think they're all working voluntary and they're doing the best they can, so we'll leave that there. Now, one of the biggest problems we have in an open source project is crediting contributors and making them feel, showing that we're really grateful for everything they do. Obviously, we can invite them to conferences, we can send them stickers and small merchandise and gifts like that as well. But what are some other ways, how can we say thank you and make them feel really appreciated? And one way is with open badges that some of you may have heard of before. So this is the super short description: open badges, verifiable, portable, digital badges with embedded metadata about skills and achievements. So these are PNG images with metadata inside to show what somebody has done, why they are awesome as well. The Fedora project uses them, I'll show you in a second. Good way to show appreciation to contributors, and it's hosted, it's its own open source project. Here's how Fedora does it. So these are all people in the Fedora project, active, all their usernames, and when they hit a certain milestone, when they've done something, they get a badge. They have lots of automated systems set up for this as well. And they make it into a sort of friendly competition between people in the community. So if you've done 150 Git commits or wiki edits or 150 somethings, you get a certain badge as well. So, and then they show who's leading in the week, who's leading in the month. They gather all the information from all the different activity in the Fedora project, and then they give these badges. Now, you can decide, you can define what these levels are, what these thresholds are. It can be for the first time somebody commits, actually gets their patch committed to the LibreOffice source code tree, they get a badge as well. You know, cool. We can decide all that as well. So, slightly boring technical stuff, but the badges are defined by JSON files as well, so just involves poking around in those. 3 files, the issuer, which in this case is us, LibreOffice, the Document Foundation, the badge class that defines the type of award we want to give, so maybe for 100 wiki edits or for 10 code commits, 1,000 questions answered on Ask LibreOffice, our user assistant website, for instance, and then this JSON file that's very specific for the person who gets the badge. So here's an example. Again, not super exciting, but just so you can see, this is who gets the badge. This is when it was issued, but this is very important as well. This is super important, this verified thing, because when we issue a badge, and if somebody wants to show off that they have a really nice badge from the Document Foundation, that they've written 20 code patches or answered 500 questions, with this, it can be verified that we issued the badge. So it's not just somebody has opened a PNG image in a hex editor and poked all this data inside. And this is good when people really want to show off their badges for future work opportunities as well. So to say, I've contributed a lot to a big project like LibreOffice, and I want to show that. I want to put it on my LinkedIn profile or social media. It's not just a little cutesy thing that they're given, but actually, like, this is real stuff that the LibreOffice project has shown they appreciate what I'm doing, and I've contributed enough. So we have a couple of badge designs, thanks to our community as well. I quite like this one personally, because I think it's quite quirky and fun. But if people want to show them off on their LinkedIn profiles and they really want to use it to further their job opportunities, then something like this may be better. So we'll have a bit of a discussion in the design community. Maybe use both, let's see. But we have this working. The tooling is set up as well. So the plan is now, let's go ahead and do it. So in the next few days after FOSDEM, we can start giving badges to people for their work. We can, thanks to Guilhem and the infrastructure team as well, we can get lots of statistics from different services and tools in the project. So we can run commands to see who has answered 500 questions on Ask LibreOffice, who has made 500 wiki commits, whatever, code commits as well. I think even bug reports, there are a few other things we can do. Gather the data. My plan is to initially give badges to people personally. So to generate a badge and then email somebody and say with a personal thanks for your contributions. So to start off a bit smaller, but with a sort of customized message. The way the Fedora guys do it, which is cool, is it's all done automatically in this nice system. Maybe we can go to that as well. We can aggregate lots of data and issue the badges automatically. But I think at the start, I want to send them to people and say, thanks a lot, we really appreciate it. And here's something, it's not just a nice shiny PNG image, but this has data that you can then show to a potential employer. Yep, so that's the plan. Do it personally for now and then automate it later. Then maybe some of you will be receiving badges from me soon as well. So, and then you can open them up in a hex editor and check that they're real. That's the plan. And I think that's it. Yep. Was that 8 minutes? Kenny.
It is awesome, but for the verifying, like it should go through hub LibreOffice org so that like you can tweak the server.
Okay.
It shouldn't be like new design.libreoffice.org, but hub.libreoffice.org/badges/whatever, which redirects to the thing.
Okay, sure, yeah. We're just using new design at the moment for testing purposes, but yeah.
So if it is for verification.
That's a good point. I'll make a note for when we implement it live. Yeah, thanks. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you have Nicholas with some demo on a tablet. How it works.
Most probably it won't, but we'll see. So let me just introduce myself. I have a fancy app here and a fancy device, and I would like to show you what we did in the last couple of months. So my name is Nicholas. I work for Adfinis, a Swiss free and open source service provider, and I will become a deputy board of directors for the TTF soon. You can also follow me on Twitter, where I use the Nixlore Twitter name. So what you can see here now is LibreOffice more or less running on natively on an iPad. I would like to explain a little bit what we did here. So this is not online, so I can actually disable Wi-Fi and everything will work as it should. So the app is using the same code base as LibreOffice Online does, and it's also the same as we are using on Android, and Candy showed it this afternoon as well. And I would like to show you a couple of things that we can do with the app. So if you open the app, what you actually see is the native iOS file manager, and I prepared a couple of files just to show you a couple of easy things. So let's start with the text document. You can see that it's more or less the same user interface as we have in online, but we have some things that you can do using the native functions that iOS provides. So for example, I can use the emoji keyboard to add some emojis, or I can copy and paste pictures from the browser, for example. So if I have this little animal here, oh, okay, yeah, so the browser is offline now as well, but let's just connect to the Wi-Fi again. I can copy and paste pictures from other applications to the app as well. We can use things with the finger, so you cannot see that I touch the screen, but if I want to resize the table, I can actually do that with my finger. I can also just tap on one of the gray areas around the table to select things and make them bold, for example. We also have quite big handles around the picture to just resize them with the finger. You can also rotate them. And you also have the sidebar, for example, which you already know from the desktop version. And there you can also see that we have quite big widgets to just use them with the finger as well. What I also especially like is if we use the spreadsheet component. you can actually use the hardware keyboard. That was not possible until I think iOS 13 or something. So now if you want to select the cell range, you can do it with the handles as well, but sometimes you just want to use the keyboard, so you can just use the usual shortcuts like Shift, and then just use the arrow keys on the keyboard as well. Same also works for formulas, so if you start to write the formula, and then you can use the hardware keys to actually select the range as well, and do things like that. You can also just select the range of cells, insert a diagram, and these things will also update. So if I just use a much bigger number here, you will see that the diagram will change. And this all works natively, or like you don't need an internet connection. And we can also have a look at the Impress part. So there's a slide deck that I prepared, and of course we can edit things here, change the text, and then start the slideshow, navigate through those slides, have charts here as well, and you can edit everything as you would expect. There, of course, are still a number of things that don't work. It's still a work in progress, but I think the next release, the 4.2 release, should bring quite a bit of nice new features. One thing that I also would like to show is the dialogues, the native dialogues that you should know from LibreOffice. They look a bit like iOS native dialogues with those green switches and things that are big enough to actually use with the finger. So that's more or less what I would like to show. You can download it from the store, from the Apple Store. I have it somewhere open. It's right now you can use the Collabora build, and I would like to sincerely thank also the developers from Collabora for their support, for the heavy invest they did, and it's fair to give them a short applause or pay them a beer later on. So if you use Collabora Office, the search term, you should find the version. Right now it's 4.1 that you can find, but I think you should get 4.2 through test flight, and also as a final build in a couple of weeks, I hope. That's it. Thank you very much. Any questions? No questions? Good. Thank you.
Okay, so it's me. So I'm cheating a little bit. So it's what I'm talking about. It's not going to be about LibreOffice for a change, but it's about something that I care a lot about, which is digital workflows. So I was hacking a bit with Bubbly on something that many of you might know, which is Poplar and Ocular, which is one of the more popular PDF viewers on free operating systems. So since this is not a native Linux, I'm just gonna play some screencast I was doing. So the problem that arises obviously these days is that you want to sign documents digitally, not print it out and paper and then scan it again. So that's a feature that's broadly missing. except for LibreOffice. So LibreOffice can do that, but there might be documents that you're not generating in LibreOffice. So what are you going to do? So, well, this document is generated now in LibreOffice, but what I show you now in a moment, while I'm trying to save that down, is that so that there's two patches to merge requests, one for Poplar that's more or less building on something that someone did 4 years ago, which started that, and then I took quite a bit of code from LibreOffice that was done, I think, but with this crowdfunding from this Willem Tux project that got this PARDES extension, so that's like timestamping authority and other nice things, and put that into Poplar, which is the let's say the low-level PDF reader and renderer, and then added as a bit of UI on top, which no, that's not me, that was Bubbly, but I was kind of just doing the finishing touches in the last few weeks. So while this is building, I wonder if I can just forward that. It's getting a bit boring. So yeah, let me just ramble on. So right. So actually, I think I skipped too far. So that's the actual document that was signed already. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't. There's no keyframes there, so it always has to. Oh yeah, there we go. So that's the generated document with the signature stamp and the PARDES stamp of approval there in LibreOffice. I should probably scroll back a bit further so that you can actually see that it's Ocular doing that. And the workflow is essentially like an Acrobat or other. So you just you open some, you draw some rectangle. Okay, there we go. So that's the document. You bump the sign button. You draw a rectangle where you want to put the signature. You select your certificate. You sign it. Eventually, I will do that there, right? So that pulls the like LibreOffice as well, pulls that out of the NSS, defaulting to Firefox but configurable key store. And then eventually selects that. Yes, come on. Okay, and then saves that and reloads that, and it's all there. Okay, so this is right now. This is in review. The idea really is to have with pure open source to have the complete set of tools that you need for a fully digital workflow, where you don't need any proprietary software anymore. You don't need to go and have clumsy workarounds, or worse, printed to paper. So, and yes, there it is. Okay, bored you enough? Let's pause that for the moment. Any comments, questions? We have a bit of time. Great, thanks.
Don't see anything. All right. You've seen a lot of very professional talks in this lightning talk session, and even one with a LinkedIn linked. In the early days of LibreOffice, it was a little bit more cowboy-y. So who knows what will happen if I press return here? Right. It takes some time, but after that, my slow SSD should find that this hasn't been optimized from 1989 till LibreOffice 6.0, and there was a talk by Michael Stahl. Are we optimized yet? And since then, we are optimized. So it was only 20 years. So trigger warning drugs. What number do you expect to come out of that?
40.
It's not one line, so it's if you want to see an especially interesting one, maybe look at that one. I'm not doing this to protect the guilty. Who knows what will we find with this?
Some exhibition.
Yeah, that was, I think, it was in when LibreOffice started, and it's still in. Who's German here? Okay, so let's quickly see this one for you guys. And if you want to make a German very happy, you can ask them to explain the joke to you. All right. And finally, I also want to, like this whole talk is essentially be careful. Git never forgets. The last one, we also have storyteller. The guilty are smiling, they know what's coming. We also have storytellers in the project. I really love this source code comment. And with that, thank you. And let's have a nice little round of fun tonight. Thanks.
Just so you know, if you don't know,